I just realized I said it like, hello,
They know what
Newman.
they've done. You know what you've done, chat.
I just realized I
Spoiled.
said it like, hello,
They know what
Newman.
they've done. You know what you've done, chat.
Hey, everybody.
Spoiled.
Good
They
news.
know what they've done.
It's
You know
Friday
what
night.
you've done,
We made
chat.
it.
John, your audio
Hey,
is
everybody.
too loud, John. What are you
Oh,
doing?
I was probably watching a stream. That's probably why it was so loud. They're getting a loop.
Are you using a 2-computer mixer thingy?
No, I'm using just my computer, my one, and just I'm doing 2 audio channels of what I'm sending out though. It's sending out what is going to my desktop and what's going to my headphones separate. So if I have my stream volume turned up, then the stream gets pumped through the same place that the music gets pumped through.
Gotcha.
Legacy podcast. We're not a legacy podcast. We're not a legacy anything. We're a lucky to be allowed to record podcast. And you all know it.
Yeah, we stumble into this every single week. They should know this by now.
How did we get here? Where are we going? What are we going to talk about? We don't even have show notes.
Yeah, that's how much of a legacy we are.
We've downgraded over time.
Or upgraded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have transcended show
A
notes.
legacy of laughs.
Legacy of love.
Well, the laughs is actually just the people listening to us thinking, they think they're doing
Show us
good.
your notes. You're looking at them. It's us. It's us going, what are we talking about today? And boobs. There's definitely...
Well, we got some of those today.
Yeah. Usually there's 2 boobs on this show and a guest. We have
But
2
now we've got
guests.
4 boobs.
4 boobs.
And a guest.
And a guest. Oh my gosh, can that be the name of the episode even if it doesn't make it to the episode? It's a
don't know.
good
4
name.
boobs
that on
and
the
2
episode.
guests ago.
I like it. I like it so much.
You know, that might be a speech I want to hear.
I mean, I do.
If it helps, I have a MMO champion open. Does
Oh,
that
there we go.
Does
Oh,
that mean
we
I'm
never-
prepared?
Yeah,
don't
you're
do
very
stuff like that.
prepared.
Awesome. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Is Bo really streaming him just talking right now?
Well, no,
think
he's designing the
prepping
field. Yeah,
tomorrow.
he's working
Oh.
on the
Okay.
doing maps.
I did watch him stream once, him on a train. He just was on a train and he was like, I'm going to just stream me on a train. And I woke up and it was going and it was just a case of, is he really doing this? I'm going to watch this. So I tuned in and it was a lot of Bo holding the camera right up to his face, looking at it, doing the streamer thing, but then realizing his hair wasn't the way he wanted it. So the stream was a lot of him just going... And I was just like, Bo, what is this weird vanity stream you've done for yourself?
Nice.
It was incredible. So hey, just chatting streams are good. Not to send you all anywhere else. I'm just, I'm seeing it as a viewing possibility at the moment. All right. Well, I'm ready to go. Do we have any business we need to address before we begin the show proper, Ben? Ben?
Time ago.
Oh.
He's
no.
gone.
Now we're
He's
studying something.
Now he's looking up. Ben, do an impression of a squirrel shocked by something in a tree. Oh, it's changed now. Oh, he's gone.
Oh no.
We lost him. He left us. He left us.
He'll be back.
Oh, he's sending me messages now. Secret messages. Anyway, hi chat room. We have Kyle and Kristen here. We can talk about whatever while we wait for Ben.
Yeah.
What do you want to?
Wait,
What do you all want to
Kyle
talk
seems
about?
confused about something.
Oh yeah, no. It's MMO champion posted. Here's the storm news from the 21st of September, as though it came out yesterday. So my little reporter heart went, no, what the? There was a whole AMA and I made up crap. I did a strategy section yesterday about how to solo lane and there was an AMA. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't go to MMO anymore because I don't like spoilers.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
because they're always like, look at these models, and I'm like, why does Toronto have no eyes? And they're like, well, there's going to be a spell effect. But at least I assume she might not have any eyes. I assume she's going to get spell effect eyes.
See, I immediately went to Wowhead, and now I'm looking at spoilers.
Yeah, Wowhead's got them too, but there's like database stuff there. Though I see Veins is in the pocket of was it DB or something like that?
Dave Busey?
Yes.
The lesser-known Busey brother.
They take you to, I think it's like Azeroth database or something. And so I don't know how to read that side either. Is Thoughtbot still going?
I think Thoughtbot might be porn now.
Merged with Wowhead. Oh, okay.
Oh. Well, there you go. Now they have the absolute best information on the web and porn.
Yeah.
And porn.
A little bit of both.
Just wait till every site is part of Pornhub. It's like, when every single restaurant is Taco Bell.
Do you want to toggle porn for this site? Yes or no? No. No, thank you. I'm good right now.
Okay, should we try and do a show before I freeze up and lock up again?
I guess.
Did he do it? Did
Let's do it.
I think he's
He's messing
Did it
with us
actually
because I
happen?
mess with him all the
It's
time.
pretty convincing.
I do it all the time to him, and he just decided he was going to try to get me back.
Well, it happened for real, too.
I
so.
will say that a couple times, most of the time it's unintended. I apparently hold very still if I'm like deep in thought or reading the chat room. And so a couple of the times that I've tricked you, Ben, is just me just going,
Pretty much.
just looking at stuff. But sometimes I do it to mess with you
Yeah.
because it's fun.
It
and
is.
It's the easiest way to play a
I
prank on
understand.
someone
I just
in
did it
Discord.
myself for the first time. I totally get it.
Yeah, but it didn't work. You did a good job, though. But it
Oh,
didn't
well,
work.
thank you. They did such a good job of trying
Is
to.
John wearing a shirt tonight? Yes.
Oh dear.
Did you have a skin tone shirt at one point?
I wore the gray shirt on core, and it takes on a tone under this reddish light that matches my skin pigment, and people are like, so I tried to do the thing where I bunched it up to like really
Yeah.
convince that it was a shirt,
Yeah.
and then Scott was like, it just kind of looks like you're just molding your skin, and I was like, well, that's not gonna help. That's not gonna make it at all better.
I'm actually on my way to see. Oh yeah, look at that. It's not. I mean, it's not crazy. But that, this is the phone call one, right?
Yeah.
That's a shirt. Maybe if I zoom. No, that's a shirt.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed, frankly.
There's definitely a shirt, everybody.
I expected to be full blown convinced.
Well, we have to find the one where it actually looked almost exactly like skin tone on our show.
Well, the problem with that one was we were cropping the window so tight you had less you could see.
Mm-hmm.
So they were seeing very little of the shirt on top of that. And so it just immediately became, I'm just assuming John is bottomless from the neck down at this point.
Pretty fantastic.
It's not a beige shirt. It's a gray shirt. For some reason, it looks reddish under this light.
It's just embarrassed.
The problem is I'm
like
pale,
I'm online.
everybody. I avoid the sun. The sun tries to kill my people, and so I hide from it. All right, well, with
Let's do
that
the show.
out of the way, all the important things discussed,
Mm-hmm.
we should probably do an actual show.
I think so. I think it'd be good.
Okay.
So, Kristen and Kyle, are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. John, are you ready?
Yes. I'm trying to remember which overlay I made it for. Okay, it's 2. Got it. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. You're going to put us in the 2. Got it.
I'm actually recording the show.
Oh,
Good to
good.
go.
Good. Well, in that case, let's start off with Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 289. My name is Ben Bumhofer. It's Friday night. I am ready to party. And with me, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hello! Hello, Ben! It is Friday night here in Azeroth. I'm happy to be joining you at the round table. But you know what else makes me happy?
Pizza,
Yep.
Mountain Dew,
Yep.
puppies,
Definitely.
World of Warcraft.
It does. Our guests, Kyle and Kristen, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello!
Thanks for having us.
I don't know
Really
why,
happy to
maybe it
have
was
you.
the extra zany nature of that introduction, but I felt like it needed claps when you came on. Like,
Yeah.
I don't always think that for every guest, but that time I definitely felt a need for claps and applause.
So we're essentially starting up a some sort of game show or whatever. When anyone comes on, it's or is it like a Married with Children situation where when someone is introduced, there's always like cheering and applause and woo.
No, can I veto that right to Scooby Doo?
Yes.
Oh man, we need a laugh track.
Like,
now.
I always
There we
wondered,
go.
like, as if the crowd was sitting there watching it being drawn, and they were like, what are they drawing? It's Batman! Finally, Batman's joining Scooby-Doo.
Or they have to get every single Harlem Globetrotter on there first before they know what's going on. It's like it looks like someone with basketball.
Sort of basketball man.
Anyways, hi guys, how's it going?
It's going fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we had
good.
a raid earlier today, and I'm proud to report we've made progress. It was
Oh.
incredible. We finally got Vectus down, and then we
Nice.
went to Zool and we took Zool down, and we got pretty far with the abomination after Zool.
Mithrax, the Unraveler.
Oh.
Ooh.
I
Does he
gotta
unravel?
say, I'm gonna give you big kudos for Vectus. I've only fought him once, but he seems like a royal pain in the butt.
Yeah, we actually just started. Well, okay, our second ever poll for our raid team was Wednesday on Vectus, and it didn't go nearly as well as you'd like, at all. Even
No.
close.
Did you guys did you skip to Fetid Devour third?
Yes.
That's the way to do it, because he just vomits and
totally.
then maybe he eats an egg, but it doesn't really matter apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And I mean, unless you're a healer, then it's like a challenging fight, kind of. If you're a tank healer.
Because they get like stacks on them and things start. Yeah, no, I'm disciplined priest, so I'm never dedicated to
Oh,
one
gotcha.
person. I'm a whimsical person, and people in the chat and watching the stream are like, "Why aren't you DPSing the ad?" And I'm like, "Cause I'm a healer. I can DPS whatever I want." And they're like, "Hey, can you go through the mother portal first?" And I'm like, "There's nothing to attack over there. I can't heal if I do that early." So. I'm very happy. That's why I never want to be paladin. Paladins always get stuck with the "can you just heal one guy" job, and that's no
Well,
fun.
You know what? I will say I had to deal with that Wednesday night. That's what I did. So for the Fetid Devour, so we have Tetsumi our main tank, and then Neverending our off tank. Except on this, she's main tanking because as a DK, she's taking the constant damage. Except she's able to kind of heal through some of it and everything. And then all of a sudden it's like wham, Tet gets hit super hard, and I'm like, oh, heal him now. Then back and forth and stuff. And it's weird because monk healing kind of has a little bit of a beacon of hope thing to it, but only with one spell. So like if I put my refresh on both of them and then I hit vivify on one of them, it hits both. So I'm like, cool. So I got that job. And then the other two healers were druids, so they're just dropping circles all over the place and hotting everybody up. So it was really interesting for me on Wednesday. It was really fun though. Really excited about it.
We had
I gotta say.
Drunken Stern on our team. It was a monk, and I guess he had to punch things to accomplish some sort of monk business. But man, his numbers were nuts.
Yeah, I really need to learn how to do that whole fist weaving thing, which I haven't done. I just straight heal for the most part. But I know that there are some things where it's like, okay, if I choose this talent, my healing goes up if I punch a whole bunch of stuff too. But I'm like, I don't really want to have the coordination for that. So I just kind of blindly throw heals and hope people live. It's a lot of fun though.
I mean,
But-
whatever works. I hit things. Kristen could
Exactly.
relate to this.
Got rogue power. It's like Venture Bros, but
Yeah.
rogue power.
Let's get into the deep rogue philosophical questions here. Kristen, how do you enjoy standing in roughly one place and hitting something until you maybe have to move elsewhere?
It's actually pretty fun staring at the rump of the bad guy most of the time, I gotta say, and then soaking all that damage for everyone, So
Yeah.
they say it's avoidable.
How do they know unless it's been tested? And who's gonna test it? The rogue.
The rogues.
Yeah, they know. So, my favorite thing though is in that fight where he spawns the eggs, is just the bored discussion that takes place. We killing this egg? No. That's it. It's just that's the discussion for that entire mechanic. Should we kill this egg? No. Okay, good. And then suddenly one appears, and it's like somebody saw a unicorn, because it's like the perfect setup. One appears right next to where you're fighting the boss, and the other one is sitting right next to the other end of the boss, and it's just like, guys, we're going to kill this egg. We're going to get both. We're going to get both eggs, as a matter of fact. Both eggs are going down. And everybody gets very excited. You kill both eggs. There's a little celebration. You make good progress on the boss. It's a very exciting moment for that fight for us DPS. And we move during it, so that's new too.
Okay, so you're talking about these eggs, and honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about at all.
Oh, because you've never seen them.
Yeah, I mean,
But don't you healers have this beautiful panoramic view of everything going on?
Yeah, it's
with like this set camera, and it's like a movie.
right. To us who aren't tab targeting, or I guess now I'm a disc priest, so I do tab.
Oh, you assume we tab target.
To those who don't have to target anything, I remember being a holy priest. You'd sit back, like you would actually find the slightly elevated point in the room and get a big view of everything, and it's beautiful. And then when you ran out of mana, you'd go die somewhere so that you could heal more. You don't like it's where the vomit the walls are pooping dramatically, and in that pile is an egg. That's where they are. They're in there somewhere. Yeah.
Amazing.
And sometimes they have to die. Well, one always has to die. But there's a second egg. A more mythical second egg.
Okay,
That only has to die sometimes.
I have heard about the whole like, oh, get the closer one or get the further one. So I guess that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
The two egg problem.
And it's really funny because John, you raid with me, but not really anymore. Like if you're gonna show up to raid, generally I'll be there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really happen often, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
but-
you guys do raid on nights that we're doing shows, but
I know it's a little hard to do that, but I understand. But okay, so way back when we first started raiding together, and I was running DPS and everything like that, I could tell you every single aspect about every single fight, all the time. I can give anybody, no matter what the role was, like the quick and dirty version of what's going on and what they need to do. It's like, oh, you're DPS melee. Okay, cool. You do this. Range DPS. You do this. Tanks are over there. Healers are over here and stuff. And it's one of the reasons why I'm one of the raid leaders for our team. Well, then I started healing, and now I have no freaking clue what happens at all. At all. It's like a big part of it is, okay, I can kind of have an idea, but not really. It's like basically, okay, I can't stand and stuff. Okay, cool. The rest of the time I'm like looking at health bars all the time, like, clicking and healing and stuff and doing everything. And so now it's just like, all right, Ben, give the explanation for this fight. I'm like, well, I think this happens and maybe this does. And
the dungeon journal tells us that
yeah, basically that's where it comes down to. I kind of miss that a little bit, but at the same time, it's funny how, like, depending on your role, you can either know everything about the game or nothing.
Well, I think the fights have also changed a lot over time.
True.
Because there was the time where it was like, okay, everybody, this is a 2-phase fight, and you'd hear somebody go, ah! So for the first phase, we're going to just be doing straight DPS. Then he's going to go into the air, and there's going to be a bombardment of some kind. You're going to need to move out of that. Ah! And then he's going to land, and you're going to DPS him more. when is Blizzard gonna stop overcomplicating things? With so many mechanics, I can't keep track of it. Is it phase 1 that I hit him? That's kind of the way this game has evolved. We've added a lot more phases. Now it's like, okay guys, it's not a problem. 7-phase fight. Okay, we're all on board. Phase 1, there will be globes. Each globe is a different color that will do different things depending on your rolls. Okay, I'm with you
and
so
we're going to go ahead
far.
and set up the markers across the floor. We're going to make a diamond pattern here. And then 2 minutes in, when he's at exactly this amount of health, we're going to shift him right just a little bit. Well, off tank, you're going to go ahead and grab the 50 spawns that are going to... And then we're going to need a mass dispel, so you healers feel like you're doing something.
Oh, but don't forget, now there are things that aren't dispellable. That's where the healers get confused. I'd say we can basically kind of know what's not going on, except for there are lots of things to dispel, but sometimes they're not dispellable. So sometimes everyone runs in fear, and you're looking at your bars, and you're going, how do I get rid of this? How do I save them? And you can't, because it's some kind of mechanic.
Like Disney filming a documentary, those lemmings are gonna fall.
Oh, that's sad.
Sorry, that went...
All you can do is wave. Just let him go.
I mean, it is straight up crazy how complicated Mother is, and how much fun that fight is.
Yeah.
I do have to agree with you on that. But the fun thing is like the first time we were working on that, it was like, okay, we're gonna send, Ro was fantastic, had a great order for everybody to go. And that's when we found out that, oh no, we can't have a healer go in the middle of it because there's way too much going on in the first room to have them out of there. So, we refigured it out and, changed the order and everything like that. And now we got it set. And then some of our damage dealers who have, good AoE interrupts didn't come to raid. So then we have to alter it again. So I'm going in the first group and helping do the AoE stun at the beginning so that the thing doesn't go off and kill the entire raid. So it's like, this is really interesting. And I'm so happy that, they have specific things on specific groups and stuff like that. But just every now and then, homogenization isn't a bad thing.
Is that the reason Randy whispered me in the middle of our Heroes games the other night? Because I think when I replied back to him, it said he was fighting Mother. And
Probably.
then I got a they wiped message shortly thereafter, and I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, that might be something along those lines.
You just want me for my interrupts, Randy. I see how it is. But, I mean, I have only gone in there once. I haven't done the LFR or anything like that. But Kyle, Kristen, you've been doing it fairly weekly. There was a little interruption there. How are you taking it? Did you raid frequently before, or is this kind of your first time really diving into regular raiding?
Last time I regular raided was BC back in college.
Nice.
But the way they've released Battle for Azeroth, this whole war, they're bringing back the Horde vs. Alliance thing. That was really awesome. And of course, the spotlight on Sylvanas. I think everyone here can agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing. So coming back in, this is the most PvP I've ever done. And of course, the most raiding I've ever done. And it's by and far the most fun I think I've ever had in the game.
That's great. Do you think that because it is kind of harkening back to it, that's one of the only things that's drawn you in? What's kind of, I don't know, maybe stopped you from joining, as gung-ho before?
If I'm to answer honestly, I think life got in the way to really kind of gung-ho back into it. But now that things have kind of settled and I have time to play more than just one game, and this is a wonderful expansion where you do have that war, right? The battle. You don't have to be peaceful. That's for pandas. Take it, pandas. This is war, and there's nothing wrong with pandas. You can have your peace. But I'm undead, man. I'm undead.
Cool. Kyle, what about you? I know you've jumped in, here and there and stuff. Is this the first kind of raiding that you've done before, or is it something that you're coming back to?
Yeah, we were in that same college raid together, and for me, we had one of those, like, the classic tragic story of the guild merger, where all of a sudden big guild merges with us. All of our people leave. We're suddenly overwhelmed by people who play like 24/7, get all the gear, and we're all sitting there like, but this was our guild, and it fell apart, and that was BC. And life got in the way, and really for me, the magic of raiding has always been, I want everybody's victories to be my victory. When someone on my team is like, I got a new sword, I'm like, yeah, you did. That means our overall DPS is now better. And through the Frog Pants community, through streaming, through the Friday raid events that we're doing, it's been really cool to like have that progression. Like we started now 4 weeks ago, and we got really far. I think we made it to. Did we make it to Vectus on our first day?
I think so.
Yeah. And the gear requirement there was 320. And we're just like, we're just sticking our heads in. Let's see what happens. And each week we've upped that gear requirement by 5. And every time the same people are showing up and being a little better and moving a little faster. And it's just really cool to have that experience.
Very cool. And, it's kind of funny because, I mean, definitely going back to the, like the big guild merger and everything like that. I get that. That's one of the things that it can totally disrupt like your entire gameplay and stuff. But having the right attitude of, we're really going in and working with this as a team is one of the best parts of, doing the PvE stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. And I think I mentioned it to you guys, but when we, grouped up and did PvP, that was the first time I did war mode and everything. And still, it was such a blast. I had so much fun doing that. But it's like, it's a different kind of camaraderie than when you're going in and like, constantly running dungeons with the same people or raiding or something like that. So it's interesting how many different facets of, well, I mean, massively multiplayer that this game is actually like kind of cranked out. And having that sort of like joy for someone else who got a piece, like even if it's like you didn't get something or it's the piece you've been looking for or whatever, is really, in my opinion, one of the best ways to kind of look at that sort of gameplay. And I'm totally segueing out of WoW for a second here, but that kind of camaraderie and everything is something that I really love about like D&D. It's like we're working together to do something and everything, and all the fun that you have, all the victories and everything there really pushes forward, except like the only difference is you can kind of like evolve the story together. But it's just another type of teamwork and stuff that raiding really offers, and I'm super happy that you guys are enjoying this expansion as much as you are.
Yeah, and I love too, I think the best part about it is how flexible they've made raiding. You don't have to have a specific number anymore. You can pop people in and out, and they might not have the best gear, but they're not going to be too much of a detriment. And that's amazing because it really kind of opens up this once very locked off section of WoW to the greater community.
Well, and something that is so easily, I think, poo-pooed when we see it come in a release. Community tools, like even the name. But the fact is, like, we don't have to break people's families. We don't have to go into your guild and say, get out of there. You're now part of our once-a-week casual business. But you need to break all your family ties to be a part of our full-around funness. And it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that they did, too, is just changing the way that lockouts work. I think it was in Legion, for the most part, that they did that with. But, way back in BC, if you went in and, killed some raid bosses, that's it. That's all you could do. But the fact that you can go in, like, even if you've gotten loot off of a boss, you can come back in another group and just fight it again, because that's just what you can do. And, just things like that have really fostered a lot of different, again, community, gameplay, and all that fun stuff.
Well, and the gear, the way the soul bind works, where if it's not an upgrade for you, you then have the option if you want to. Like no one in at least our group is gonna like be queuing you and being like, oh man, is he really using that? Like you can be like, does anybody want this? And then you give it away and you have that exchange, and it like all those things are just fantastic. And plus, I mean, to toot the horn of Here's the Storm, I feel like Blizzard has learned so many lessons in readability. Mm-hmm. And I really felt that last week when we were doing our time walking dungeons together. You're standing in the poo and you're dying like nuts, and you're just like, what is happening to me?
As the person who was in the poo, frequently. Yes. I didn't even, and that's the funny thing is I didn't even realize it. It was you pointing it out that made me go, oh yeah, they have added a bunch of new UI elements that I appreciate but not knowingly appreciate, because now when it's gone I'm sitting there and all of a sudden, because the flashing red will happen no matter what, and it's just like all of a sudden my screen starts flashing red and I'm like, what's happening? Where's my character? How did I get here? What's going on? And I realize, oh, there's a subtle spell effect that I'm just sitting here standing in, and in the current expansion that is shown off in every way imaginable. And right now, going back into Kata dungeons, no, they try. It's like they tried to make it subtle. Like, we're gonna get you. We know we're gonna get you on this one. There's gonna be the graphics gonna be little rocks on the ground, and you need to look out for them.
Well, there's a spell effect on Zool Reborn, who ended up downing today, and it was awesome.
That's great.
He puts this AoE on you, and you got to run out of the group. Do the classic run away from everybody, you're gonna explode. But how readable and awesome is it that once you explode, these little missiles shoot at you, woo, and then they fly up, very slowly fly down, turn slowly into demons that then slowly make their way back towards. It's not like and ads, and maybe there's a voiceover of like, get them somewhere, you know?
And here's an interesting thought, and what do you guys think about this? That the readability hasn't actually made the game easier. Instead, it's fostered more challenging boss fights.
Yeah,
I would say so.
I think that's definitely true, because it's like we're kind of joking at earlier, is, you know, back in the day, some of these mechanics that now they'll give a ad out in the wild, some of the effects that they're like, we're putting this on a boss. This will show them. And now, you know, boars cast that same spell on you and you're like, yeah, this is nothing. I can step slightly to the left. The one I always like is the big statues from Pandaria that put that rune on the ground that make them super powerful, and you get to do the little dance where you pull them out of it, then you put yourself in it, and you get the buff and they don't. And that's just a little trash mob, but that would have been an entire boss encounter back in BC. And I think their ability to communicate these mechanics without us having to go to a guide and just go, what happened, makes it easier for them to say, okay, well, let's throw, you know, more and more at them. That's fine. They can take it.
I mean, considering a lot of people like depend on bigwigs or DBM or something, especially when they're raiding, to, you know, tell them to get out of stuff or watch out for this or move over there. You know, it's funny because, yeah, it's like, okay, it's updated like every day, it seems. But the thing is, even if you go in the raid, stuff's still going to be popping up and letting you know. But if you've ever gone in and just kind of paid attention, there's so many cues. You're right. The readability is just fantastic at this point. You know, it's like finally the raid and encounter iterations are really catching up with a lot of the different aspects of, you know, just like UI that Blizzard has never really spent a whole lot of time working with before. And I love the fact that so much of it is actually in the environment so that you can, you know, see what's going on, as opposed to it's like, oh, that egg over there is shaking right there. It's going to pop out and something's going to attack me or something. Maybe something hatches from the egg that you guys are talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, the egg. No, it does. Yeah. It gets eaten, this egg. This is a to-be-eaten egg.
Is it eating its own eggs?
They're barfed from the wall. So we had this discussion earlier.
Because I was concerned about that as well.
I know, but
because Kyle would not eat an egg he laid himself. That's the truth we came across.
I mean, and he shouldn't. That seems like a bad idea. I don't know. Hold on. Now I'm thinking about it. I mean, it'd be an unfertilized egg.
Yeah.
You'd have free eggs for life.
That's true.
No, we're not.
And you don't eat the yolk, right? It's just the egg whites. It's just a nice protein.
See, the way I still think I have a counterpoint in that this is the wall. And if I was sitting in my room and the wall birthed an Eggs Benedict, my favorite breakfast, by the way, I would not eat it.
No, I
wouldn't eat. What if it came with fresh
eggs?
Sourdough?
And that right there is why I don't eat mushrooms.
Oh, well, because it potentially came from a wall?
Well, I mean, it grows on crap too. You know, it's one of those things. Certain things that birth mushrooms, I'm not a big fan
But Ben, they washed it.
of. No, no
Okay.
amount of washing can help.
Okay. If that's how you really feel. I was just
mean-
thinking, like, if it was my egg, maybe there's some pride in it, and not wanting my egg to go to waste, maybe I use it.
That's true. Waste not, want not, after all.
I mean, Fetid Devour's not having a good day. I think we can give him a pass.
True.
Shieldwald was raiding with us. He did a fantastic job shot calling for us, but he said wind up toy. And he's absolutely right. Burger King knockoff, like, Fetid Devours. We need them.
It's
Well,
true. It
our
really
big
does
thing-
fit. It's like they had these pieces left from other toys.
Which is the point, you know, he's crafted, he's an experiment, he's supposed to be nasty, but the poor guy, he's just Sigourney Weaver in a test tube.
He really is.
Oh yeah. But okay, so next time that you are down there, you know, after the raid's reset and you're watching him walk, start humming and singing "Staying Alive." It matches perfectly, like absolutely perfectly. I have to thank
so
Randy
maybe he's
for
not
pointing that
having a
out.
bad day after all.
He's just
Possibly.
happy to be alive.
Maybe he likes wall eggs.
I mean, they heal him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they buff him.
That helps.
If I was like squirting blood out of my neck, it was like 1 second. And it just went and healed up, I'd be like, all right, I guess I'm into wall eggs now. Maybe
Yeah, no,
only when I'm cut. But
Well, it also does, you know, grow extra heads and make other things kind of parasitically grow on your back. But you know, besides that,
True.
wall eggs.
I
Thumbs
guess
up.
he's not like if you were a normal person and you walked in
A
and
normal
saw
experiment.
and saw that creation, you wouldn't be like, maybe I should try those eggs. It'd be like if you walked into a room and there was a body on the floor and a cup just out of reach of its hand and some liquid spilled on the floor. You wouldn't walk over to the table and go, boy, am I thirsty. What
That's true,
happened
but we
here?
also we're ignoring a scent that we don't have in video games yet, and that's smell. What do these things smell like, right? When you walk into this room, is it like a musty, mushroomy wood kind of a smell with
Yeah.
the spores in the air?
The problem is to skip ahead to Vectus.
Oh, we're just diving right in.
We are vomiting on each other. Like he is putting a baby inside you
Yes.
that you then birth. Which stuns you. Like I'm like free pass.
Oh,
You've
I'd be
been
stunned.
Right. Like you go to the you're in horrible pain. You go to the hospital, and the doctor comes in and is like, I guess you've been stunned. Like, oh, that really just glossed over everything that just happened to me. You vomit on your nearby friends who get stacks again. Like you know, you're holding your infant child and he barfs in your face and you're like, I guess I got a stack, you know,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
problem.
Yep.
You're
First
one
step.
layer deep in vomit.
Yep. Wipe it off, no problem.
Oh man, you want to talk about the smell in that room though? As soon as you walk in, it's like you can taste the iron in the air.
Copper
in there.
pennies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're just breathing in pennies everywhere you go.
It's
You're like-
so it's a great room though, with the head bleeding in the background and
Oh, it looks great.
Well, I'm glad you all have the narrative of what was happening, because the entire one time that I fought him, I just went, I don't know what happened in this fight.
Just kind of like stand there stabbing him.
I was
That's
hitting
okay.
him. There's blood effects going over. There were puddles. There's just blood. It was just a bad room. I was like watching Nightmare on Elm Street unfold in front of me, and then I wound up like Johnny Depp. So that was it.
Well, you know,
Okay.
at least he didn't survive till the end and then get sucked through a door. Could be worse.
Yeah. But that was clearly a mannequin.
yes, it was. Good thing you're not a mannequin. How's that?
Aren't I?
I don't know.
I have to give both, well, I don't know which one of you, maybe both of you, credit, because one of the things that I have gotten the most joy out of this expansion, and I feel like we didn't talk about it, it was just something that I noticed we were doing on a near weekly basis, was completing that Turtles, like, here's your weekly weird event. You want to do time walking, do time walking. You want to do mythics, go do mythics. I don't know, I'm a turtle. And it's been a nice way to try new things in the game that I don't by default, I know they're there. I know time walking happens, but having that little encouragement and then having a group of players that are also like, yeah, let's give it a try. Let's see what it's like. Let's get in there and see it. Has really kind of opened my eyes to different aspects of the game that I ignored. I mean, we did what was my first mythic ever together, as well as my first mythic plus. Well, not my first mythic ever. My first mythic plus ever was with you guys. I skipped that through all of Legion, even though that was a big, back of box mythic plus dungeon's gonna be great. I completely ignored it. I didn't do a single one, and so getting in there and discovering that, it really encouraged me to step outside of what I normally go to WoW for and find out, oh, it turns out I like Mythic Plus a lot. It turns out I'm bloodthirsty in a way that I didn't know. And I will kill every alliance I come across if given the opportunity. I didn't know I had that in me, but I've discovered it now. So that's been a lot of fun. Has that been kind of your takeaway from this expansion as well? Are you finding new avenues that you didn't think you were really going to appreciate about WoW this expansion, or has this kind of always been what you've played and enjoyed of the game?
I mean, to be honest, you guys are the most friends I've had playing WoW, so it's great to see you all on and be like, hey, I want to do these things and do these things. And then my siblings are on, and we're not close to one another anymore, so we're all getting together and doing those things. And honestly, it's the people that's really... And then, of course, on top of everything that Blizzard has developed, which I think is nothing short of incredible.
True.
I mean, it really started, I think, with our playthrough of Divinity 2, Original Sin.
Yeah.
With you, John, with Kristen, and Jeff. We found a game, and we're like, oh, this is a game that will not get beaten by ourselves. Like, it was a massive role-playing game that was complicated, long, had to manage all these party members, and it could be co-opted. And I just said, okay, we're going to meet at these times. Like a D&D game. We're going to meet these times, damn it, we're going to play. And starting that, and then when this expansion came out, I was like, okay, darn it. I don't want to have a bad first go. I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to fart off. I want to look at that wall when I walk in Shrine of Storms. I want to go, oh, and what's this over here? Ooh, can we kill that trash? And the guy's like, no, this is the optimal path. Squeeze by this wall. Hug this box. I'm like, no, I want to see the stuff. I want to look over the edge for 30 seconds to a minute or more. And I want to mind vision the boss and spin him around a few times while we talk about him. And doing that sort of thing just made me realize... And I had this experience back in Legion. I ended up at Gul'dan. And Gul'dan's like, I am the worst. And he like lasers and no one moves. Because Zelifar. And then something happens where like he pops a shield and dude showed up and nothing changed. And then we kicked his butt when the shield came down. I guess we got knocked back and a couple people fell off the edge, but it didn't matter. And I was like, who is this for? And now I was doing normals in Legion, and I'm like, who is this for? And it's so you can learn it, so you can do the better versions, and that's why Mythic is only friends only, basically. And you'll see these posts online like, I can never find people to, I hate Mythics. When I use the looking for group, I'm like, you're doing Mythics with random people? Are you nuts? Like this, that is that experience.
Yeah, it's funny with Classic WoW coming out, well, at least, we're going to see it at BlizzCon and everything, and assuming it's coming out sometime next year. From what I've heard from a lot of people who are like really excited and super into it and everything, that's kind of the one thing they're looking for, is just like the community again. Because, as soon as LFR and LFD were added and everything, a lot of the community just kind of stopped happening because people weren't, yelling forever for someone to join them on a dungeon and stuff like that. So like having the mythics be, you have to get together to actually do it, and especially like mythic raiding and to what I would say a huge extent like normal and heroic raiding as well, it's one of those things that really does foster that community again. And it's almost like Blizzard took the steer towards okay, we're going to make it easy for everybody to get together. And then now they're steering completely back with saying, you can still get together pretty easily, but we're going to make it so that you actually know people. Like, when they did bring in the communities and everything like that. And it's not that their philosophy changed. I don't think that they really expected the outcome of tools like LFD and LFR to just kind of, bring together bad behavior and everything. So I'm super happy with the way that it's going these days.
Well, and we were talking earlier about like the descriptions that just make no sense. The shot caller is up there. He's talking about, all right, here's what's gonna go down. There's gonna be big old donuts on the ground, right? Then you got to play beach volleyball for a bit, and it's gonna be some summons.
Don't eat the eggs.
And don't make sure he doesn't eat eggs.
Only unless it's in Eggs Benedict form.
Okay,
right.
Who in the party is best at algebra?
But when you do it in LFR, knowing that the next day you're going to be raiding with friends, all that makes sense again. Bacterial extermination or experimentation, you're like, oh, fire. I guess I'll dodge that tomorrow. Lasers in the walls. That didn't matter for now, but now I know when the tank says lasers that I'm going to be aware of these lasers.
Oh, we have so much fun calling that out too, because we're in 2 different rooms and there's lasers in 2 different rooms, and the gap is not always in the same spot.
No, it's not.
No, and the best part about LFR though, the mother fight, is you get the people who've done it a few times, and they slowly go through that wall. But then, the room's about to pop, and you got 20 people who still haven't come through.
They all run through. Or they use their bloodlust on that not boss at Zach Voss. And they're like, is this the guy? He's
Every
at the end of the
time.
room. Get him. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm a disc priest, so I have like my shields, my powered barrier, which is all this percent-based damage. So people start running through it, and I just like pop my stuff and hide in my little box because I know they're coming, and they're gonna kill us all.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's true. I kind of alluded to this story, but I just like bringing it up because it was usually I'm in the order of I try it on LFR because that's the quickest and easiest way to get in there. Odds are I'm going to get to the final boss of a raid there before our normal team gets there. So that's just the way it typically goes. But I remember I did heroic killed Jaden from Legion. I was doing the heroic version of the fight, and then I was trying to gear up all my alts, which meant going in on the LFR difficulty to finish that, to get, I think it was a ring, like a legendary ring you got for completing that fight or whatever it was, but I was going in on all my alts and just watching people struggle with the most watered down basic mechanics of the fight that I had spent hours trying to master a couple nights before. And you're just watching them fail at it, and you're like, guys, you have no idea. It's holding your hand so much. How are you still having this problem? And I mean, it used to be me too. When that part in the fight where the little orb comes down right in the center, someone said, now
Yep.
make sure you're standing in the center. So I went and stood directly under it. It just came down on me and obliterated me. And people were like,
Yep.
yeah, not directly in the center, on the arrows near the center, please.
Well, and I mean, it doesn't teach you all the way. Like LFR Vectus was hilarious because you constantly get these things and DBM's yelling at you. Run away, get out of, and the guy goes, and he's vomiting, and he runs into the corner, and you're like, no, vomit on us, get back here, and he's like dying and stacking on himself. You're like, guys, I can't stop vomiting. It's like, come on back. You have
Sorry,
to share
guys, for
that.
some reason I'm really sick.
And then when Victus goes into the ground and he starts shooting the waves, people think you need to ride them. And you're like, no, please. Oh, don't do this.
Okay, when you're out in the world and blood just starts shooting at you, what do? Do you ride that wave, or do you just like step to the side?
I mean, occasionally the raid asks you to do a thing that doesn't make the most sense.
That's true.
Occasionally there's a big arc in front of you, and everybody goes, no, when they step out, and it turns out it's one of those that, depending on how many people it hits, it splits the damage, so it's just the one tank left, and everybody else disappears, and he's just like, God, and he just gets obliterated instantly in one hit.
So, okay, that's when, like, telltale signs that we've come to learn for so long and everything, like, totally go against what we're supposed to, and it's the worst if it's in the same fight. So in what was it? Not Tomb of Sargeras, Argus. So in Argus, there was a fight where, like, there's this big I call him Fel Torbjorn, because he's like a big dude sitting in the middle of a room. He's got a giant, like, claw hook hand thing or whatever. And, like, one of the moves he does is, like, shoots a laser, and then he either turns left or turns right, and you just don't want to be hit by that because it's an instant death. But the other thing that he does is, like, he summons these big Fel Reaver things, like 2 of them, and they're all different colors. So when the purple one pops up, you get a debuff, and everybody needs to stack up. But when the orange one pops up, you get a debuff, and everyone needs to run away. Except it's a circle around you every single time. So it's like, which one do we do? And it's just one of those things. It's like, okay, everybody, hug on the purple. Okay, now run away really fast, because they're out at the same time, and the purple one's going to go off first, and then the orange one's going to go off right after that. And it made it really fun. So you need to kill them
I mean, nothing feels better than LFR, like, seeing the moves that it just obliterate a raid go off, and just knowing that these are the people that queued up with no idea what to do. And they were just like, it's LFR, it's no big deal. And then, like, one move goes off and you see 3 people expertly dodge it, and the raid just go, oh, yeah. We're gonna be here a little bit. Okay, it's on me to type some notes to the raid now, I see.
And of course, you always have the 2 or 3 different type of people. There's the, okay, guys, this is what you need to do, blah 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 blah, and it's nice and well thought out and simplified and stuff. Then you have the person, why aren't you catching the effing this? It's like, dude, this is the first day that this wing of LFR is out. What's wrong with you? Fun stuff.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy the LFR experience for its own thing. It's not a substitute for raiding.
No.
But it has its own meme-ish quality to it. Just watching things happen. Just watching social interaction happen. As that many people gets together and everybody, hey, what's up? And then someone's like, F yeah, mother effers, we're gonna F and do this. And it's just like, all right, that guy just really wanted to assert himself in the room. He's really stoked. He's really happy. And how long it takes to kick somebody who's AFK. They moved a little too slow. I think my favorite was in Argus. If you did the final wing, it was 2 fights. And between the 2 fights, you had to talk to Muradin, and he would send you to the second fight. And people who didn't know this would never show up in the other room. So you'd just be sitting there looking at your bar of raid members, and there'd be like 3 people that were still grayed out because they're clearly still standing next to Merton, like, not sure where everybody went, but I'll get pulled in eventually. And we had someone ask for a warlock summons, which was probably the best.
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of a lot better. Like, I did, for dress up sake, I have a friend who just loves dress up. So on the weekends, sometimes we run a dress up brigade. And we went to Hellfire Citadel. And that made no damn sense. Khadgar was like, I did it, heroes. And he opened another teleporter to another. This thing had like 14 bosses. It made no sense. And like now the LFR, like the doors close. Zul's pit does not open.
Yeah.
You actually cannot go places you shouldn't go. And they've thought this out at this point.
On that note about the gates closing, don't get too bloodthirsty in that first fight of the first wing. I accidentally messed up some of my LFR members the other night because we killed the 2 tentacles. I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I immediately smacked the main guy. And I think there were about 5 or 6 people that didn't make it through the gate in time.
Oh, man. Okay, well, here's the thing. In one of the LFR runs that we did before we actually did the real raiding, so, you do that, and then the people who go in like talk to Talanji or whatever before the mother fight, and then all of a sudden mobs start spawning and everything like that. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, cool, rezzing people, doing stuff and everything. I'm at like 30% mana. I'm like, okay, let's click the boss, see if I got mobs everywhere. Oh my god! And everybody's like dying, and like none of the healers have any mana. We're just like kind of trying to do what we can, and then so finally we made it through, and like, okay, we're good. And then someone started the mother fight like right then, and we're like, oh my god! I'm sitting there at 20% mana. I'm like,
You're all taking too long on trash back there. It's time to fight Mother.
pretty much. I'm just like, okay. And then the person, like, the tank immediately pulled Mother into the second room. It's like, no! And then pulled him into the third room. And we're like, no! Like, this is where they get the damage buff. We need to come here right away. It's like, no!
Don't know why all the idiots in the last raid took so long. I can get her right to the end of the hallway right away. We can skip all this.
I don't know what it is with warlocks, but they love their cookies, man. They can't stop. Like LFR, anything. Warlocks are like, hey, you need some health stones? I got them, man. But the mages are being like begged. People are on their knees. I don't know why they don't have food, but they need those mana cakes, and they're not putting them out.
I was just wondering that the other day. I always click the table as a thank you to the mage who put it out. I don't think I've eaten mage food since Lich King.
No, but I wanna see that. I want him to know I used it. Unlike the yak, I feel kind of personal about the yak. I kind of don't want to approach you. It's so obvious that I'm using your yak.
The guy who's like faced away from it but oddly close.
I do.
Just kind of like reaching over.
I
with
back
a hand.
into it. Like, oh,
Oh, there's a yak behind me. Might as well change my transmog.
And then their shoulders shake.
Cycling through.
change your outfit completely.
Are you using my yak? Nope. Good day, sir.
A little mustache
dude.
appears.
I can't wait until the dinosaurs are riding and people are like, oh, I need to check my auctions.
And when people chase the yak and then like try to play it off like they weren't, like, because I'll be on my yak sometimes and I'll open up the map and I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I know where I need to go. I need to go right here. I ride a couple feet and I see someone go, ah! And then run after. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't know you were in the middle of a very important transmog. Hold on, let me stay.
Okay, so one of the best things about my raid team is the fact that I would say probably a good 75% of us always want to look good. So as soon as like, we kill a boss and drops happen, someone's like, can someone bring the yak out? Like it's always like transmog after we do that, like the next possible time. So one of the best things to do is I'll pop mine out and everything. And by the way, Kyle, just for the future, you can use my yak anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's comforting. I want permission, though.
You have
Okay,
universal
you have it.
permission to use my yak.
Thank you.
But the best thing is, so we're in raid, and Old Man Frank's absolutely, he's one of the worst, well, best worst has to look good people. Like, I get it. I do the same exact thing. So this is not me like digging on him at all. But before he had a yak, I would have the yak out and then take a couple steps forward, and then he'd run up, take a couple steps forward, then he'd run up. I'm like, oh yeah. Didn't get to do it too often. Then he got a yak.
I
So.
like that you found the WoW equivalent of that thing where someone goes to get in the car and you pull forward right as they reach for the door handle.
Exactly. It's what you got to do. Make things fun. Make it interesting. Make them work for that transmog.
It's true. Now they have the portable transmog thing, which is weird.
Oh?
Yeah, it's an engineering item. It looks like a Star Trek transporter, like a tiny one. And like it lifts up and there's a little like stuffed doll in there that's wearing armor, and then it closes and then the armor changes on the doll. And you can right click it and transmog. And that seems all right. I mean, I don't know why it took me so long to get a yak. With how obsessed with transmog I am, it is the greatest purchase I've ever made in World of Warcraft. As somebody who needs to look ridiculously good in WoW at all times, apparently, So much so that I always walk around with the stylish buff cast on me. It's important. It's important to look good. I got some sick looking gloves. I'm so
Wait, the
proud of
stylish
them.
buff? What's the stylish buff?
So for the Trial of Style that they do a couple times every year.
Is it a walk-off like in Zoolander?
It's sorta, yeah. Oh, have you ever done the Trial of Style?
I've never heard of the Trial of Style.
This is amazing.
Trial
You
of
will both
Style
love
is
this.
the greatest holiday in World of Warcraft.
When does this happen?
It's
like
a mini
spring?
holiday, so they kind of scatter it a couple times throughout the year.
Yeah,
I don't know when the next one is.
It's
and
just
I'm-
like a weekend. And during that weekend, if you go to the Transmogrifier guy, you can queue for the Trial of Style. And it's a 5-man instance where they have just a room in the Blood Elf dungeon where you fought
Maximus
Kael'thas.
Terrace.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, of course it's a Blood Elf thing. They have a bunch of stylists there, and then they put up a theme for you to transmog into. So it might be faction pride, or it might be all purple, or evil, or summer fun.
or terrible tabard or something
And
like that.
you go and you transmog to match it, and then they pull up 2 people at a time on stage, and the spectators vote for who they think match the theme best, and they just keep cycling between people, and then they award a 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place prize to everybody. And one of the things you can buy with the prize coins from this is a t-shirt that when you wear, it gives you a constant stylish buff.
No, I thought you only got the shirt, or you're only able to buy the shirt if you get first place.
Oh, that could be, but I got first. Are you kidding me, Ben?
I know you got it multiple times. I get it. So according to Shield Wall, the next one is March 5th through 9th.
Okay. So I've got some time to prep and start collecting.
Yeah.
Do
So-
they tell you what you're going to be dressing for beforehand so you can kind of get your transmogs together?
Okay, so here's what happens. You basically queue up, you get in there, and then there's a whole preamble of like, hey, we're doing the Trial of Style, go us, woohoo! They're like, and the theme is summer, and then you have a minute 30.
Okay.
Now, you
And then
can cheat a little bit because the themes that they're using you can find on websites like MMO Champion and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay.
So you could theoretically go through, plan out, and save based on the theme and just be completely prepared. But, you know, it removes some of the rush element of what can I assemble very quickly. It's the greatest holiday. Also, for that weekend, Transmog is completely free.
Oh,
That's the second best part of it.
Yes.
So here's a tip for the future, though. Make sure you have a tabard in your bag.
Okay.
Because there is a tabard challenge, and sometimes the right tabard can totally pull off a full look. If you're like, yes, it's true.
Thanks, Ben.
So if you're like, I would say probably a warrior or like a mage or something that uses like different types of weapons, have one of like a cheap version of each in your bag as well, so that you can equip it and then transmog that. Because, so like for a mage, I can use a staff, I can use a sword, I can use a dagger, I can use a wand, and you can only transmog like to like. So if I have a staff equipped, I can't transmog into my swords. You know, that sort of thing, you know. So always be prepared, and seriously, it is some of the funnest stuff I've ever done. And as hokey as it is, I want more of it.
You can party up Q for it as well.
Mhm.
If you don't want to do it with randos, you can do it with a party and just bring in
Oh,
your
you
friends.
should not be doing this with randos. This sounds like it needs to be a planned. We're gonna help everyone farm for transmogs because you're gonna preemptively look at what's gonna be there. You gotta get those dungeons, make sure you got it. Steal victory.
It's the best event.
It's so great.
I really, really like it. It's sad how excited I get about it every year, but it's really, really fun. And it unlocks unique armor sets. Not necessarily styles, but usually it's a different colorization of a set that's already in the game if you get enough tokens to buy them. So it's also a nice way to unlock some transmog as well.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I never even knew this existed.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
Just a little.
I'm a bargain dresser. I've only just learned like last week how to play the auction house in any sort of way.
Yeah.
like I got my swamp fish and chips rolling. Got some galley banquets up there. You know,
Nice.
it's expensive to raid
It is.
again.
Yes.
I
Very
hit
much so.
exalted with the trolls, the new trolls, and I was like, sweet, all right, a piece of armor that's an upgrade. That's cool. That was actually really exciting to have armor that I could buy from the vendor that was an upgrade, because in the past, by the time you get exalted, I feel like you're always done with it. So I was very excited about that, but then I was like, and I could buy a pterodactyl for 10,000 gold. Yeah, I got to do it. So I have a pterodactyl now that I'm not going to use, but I have it. And then I was like, all right, and let's go to, and I checked out Ask Mr. Robot to get an idea, because I had a lot of gear that was very similar, and I was just like, okay, just show me what's going to give me the edge. And it was like, well, you want to use this, and you want to put these enchants on it. And I was like, well, what are those going to cost? I went, and it was worked out to about 15,000 gold, and I was like, why is everything so much money in this game? So I threw a bunch of stuff on the auction house, and we'll see how that all goes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, as an alchemist, I'm terrified of making flasks for how much they actually cost. I don't want to make a cauldron for the raid because it's like maybe 100,000 gold per cauldron at this point for like how hard it is to find anchor weed.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. I haven't even maxed it yet. And I'm like, I got to do this at some point. I've got to just rip that Band-Aid off and
I just switched professions. That was it. That was it. I'm mining. I'm a miner now.
Good.
That's it.
That was
Smart
definitely one of the odder experiences, was trying to find anchor weed. And I'm sure this has happened in past expansions that I had been a part of since BC. People being like, oh, that spot. Yeah, I know that spot. Yeah, I farmed there too. And you're like, well, which spot? And they're like, oh, I'm not going to tell you. And here's a map I drew of my favorites. How dare you, sir? How dare you, madam? Yeah, you're a sick person. You're giving away the best spot. You're a monster.
Your whole table shook when you said that. I was like, wow, he's really mad.
Kyle is going full monster mode here.
I get that feeling. I really do.
No, it's true.
It's
The secrets. Oh, I gotta
Yeah.
have my secret farming spot. I couldn't remember where to find sea stocks. And it's
By
right
the
in the name, so problem number one is I'm dumb. I was running past rivers. I was like, is it by the river?
Oh.
I just keep finding river bud, but where's the sea stocks? And that's what I need for my agility flasks, and it always bums me out because I can always make so many of the others, but I can never make agility, which is what I would actually use. So I dedicated a night to just running around on my Goblin Shredder, which I just remembered doesn't dismount you when you go to pick up while you're in the Goblin Shredder. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could have saved so much time before if I had remembered that.
Yeah, it's only herbalism though, so you can't mine with it. You can't like do anything else with it. It's for some reason just herbs.
Oh, you gotta get those herbs. So, so I've been doing that. But yeah, that farming business, it's rough, especially when you're trying to level, because you look at the things and you're like, that's so much anchor weed. I could use that for other things, but I need to level up.
Yeah,
But
at
it's
least
so much.
at least I'm revered at this point, so I have all of the level 3 things for like everything except for 2 of them because they're world quests.
Yeah.
Only reason. Yay.
Crafting. It's its own special beast.
Yeah, and then you have those jerks for the daily quest who are like, give me 40 of the things that you've spent
No.
time. I'm like,
No.
why would I give you 40 of this ore that's taken me at least 2 weeks to gather? You go get it yourself, buddy.
What are you gonna give me for it? 15 gold.
Yeah, or 15 war resources. That's not even enough to send out one of my dudes. And the worst part is he's standing there outside of where you do your mining stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to illegally hawk something or get some stuff that's not quite on the market yet.
And then there's also a warlock standing next to him. One health stone. One health stone.
I can give you a health stone.
Got us
Somebody
little
click these
cookie
health
platter.
stones. They are not going fast enough.
I paid for this glyph and the ground effect with it. Please.
Make it worthwhile.
I thought this would make it more clear that I have put cookies out for you guys, but again and again you ignore me.
That's it. Mages need a glyph that changes their table. Therefore,
Yeah.
they'll always put it out.
That's true. They're not invested in showing off their table.
Well, it is a tiny little table. I mean, it's very neat. You know, it's got its little white tablecloth.
I don't think it's changed since
No,
BC.
It hasn't
looks
maybe
like
even
the same.
vanilla.
Yeah, because I think it was actually new for BC.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think you just traded in vanilla. I think you just summoned it and you were like, I'm handing these out. Come initiate trade with me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I heard stories of people that have to get to molten core an hour before to make enough water for everybody.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's not.
Molten
But-
Core was an experience. I mean, not only was there stuff like that, but there was also having to go farm for a week leading up to the Molten Core raid so that you could go out and farm up the faction and I think it was a potion or I don't remember. There was something that they were out farming in the Badlands that they would need to give everybody on the raid, so you had the fire resistance or whatever. Or maybe it was the special water you poured on the seals. I don't remember. It's been too long now. But...
Yeah, it was the Hydraxian Water Lords. He had killed them to get the special water for the seals.
So it was just...
I only say this, I never raided Molten Core. I've just heard horror stories.
I raided Molten Core, but I never made it far enough to have to deal with... Well, no, in vanilla, I got to Major Domo. I never fought Ragnaros in vanilla, though. I don't think I ever saw that fight in vanilla. But, I mean, it was a different... That is a perfect example of raid mechanics that have dramatically changed because the very first boss fight where it's like, he puts a debuff on me at a certain time... and I need to not be near him when that happens? Why don't you ask me to do the impossible, Blizzard? I don't understand how this works.
He's got a shield. Don't attack during a certain time? What's up with that?
I will say, there was a weird window where you could solo Molten Core, but it was still, like, kind of challenging. Like, you knew you probably wouldn't die, but, like, the fights took a little while, where the Core Hounds were still... The infinite respawning Core Hounds would still be a problem, and there was just a time where I just threw up my hands and I was like, it can't be done. These things are gonna just live forever. I don't know what to do with them. They won't die. And you're just by yourself, and just every time you're like, okay, DPS this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Okay, they're all almost dead. Dead, 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 dead. And then one pops back up and just starts rezzing them, and you're just like, no, I'm gonna be fighting stupid dogs for the rest of my life.
Now, to be fair, we do recapture those magical moments every once in a while. I remember we were in King's Rest doing a mythic, and this particular rare summon daily boss slammed the ground about every 3 seconds. And the 2 rogues, John and Kristen I was running with, gave up. This is impossible.
Well, how are you supposed to fight as a rogue if you can't move? You tell me this! Like, it's trained us at this point. Always be moving. I am never not moving in a fight. And then it's just... we're done. I think we throw the swords, daggers, maces on the ground, and then empty the pockets of all the lockpicks.
So I'm sitting there,
This is for other people, not us.
I'm on Disc Priest, I'm like, I got it, smite. But we were also in Tol de Gore, which I think was such a great twist to put on you guys, because with all this PvP and world questing and war mode and getting better and learning your characters and becoming great rogues, you don't stop moving. And then Overseer Corgus asks you to not move at all. He has one request, and it's that you do not wiggle like you normally wiggle back and forth 24/7.
I think my favorite thing about that fight was there was a moment in it. I saw that my bar was kind of full, slowly draining. I'm about a mile away from him, it feels like. And I was like, I got this. Rogue. always thinking, here we go, figured it out, throw out my grappling hook, and I start zipping towards him, and I watch the bar just go whoop, and I get stunned in midair, and I land, and it's like right in the path of a cannon, and it just explodes on me. I was just like, well, the clever rogue was foiled again.
And the worst part too, half this fight, and I know I got stuck right in line of the cannon, so here I am just taking damage left and right, and all of a sudden halfway through, it's the Venom. What Venom? And sure enough, there's this tiny little stupid box next to the mini map. And you gotta put your little mouse over and you gotta read it a little bit. And oh.
Oh, I get it. Now I know why this fight seems so hard. It was a fun fight, but it was incredibly difficult. Thank you, gorillas in the chat. John is the embodiment of the poison knife-licking rogue.
It's true. Well, I mean, you referred to all those poor alliances. You're looking for the weak gazelle.
Yeah. That's what I do. It's the best move. Good Lord, I got surprised, though, the other day.
What happened?
It was another rogue, and I was watching him fight 3 raptors at the same time, and he's getting his butt kicked, and I was like, it's too easy. Time to go. I stealthed, and I'm watching him, and I'm waiting, and he just kills the last raptor, and he's like getting ready to do whatever he's got to do, and I run over, and I cheap shot him, and I start stabbing, and I'm watching his health get smaller and smaller and smaller, almost down to nothing. And then he finally breaks free of the stun lock that I've put him in, and I'm like ready for the kill. And all of a sudden, poof, he disappears. I go, well, yeah, I guess I should have expected that. That's what I would have done. And then, thump, I'm stunned, and I'm just sitting there sapped. And I'm like, okay, he's going to sap me as like a FU. That's fine. And then the sap wears off, and I get up, thump, I get sapped again. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, buddy. It'll get shorter each time. I'll get you. And then it wears off, and up, and thump, and down I go again. And this time it's a real short wait, and I'm like, I'm ready for him. I'm gonna stealth, and I'm gonna get him. And before it wears off, he starts attacking me. He's used that sap time to get up to full health and buffed, and he proceeds. He's an assassin rogue. And apparently they call him that for a reason, because he freaking assassinated me in a way that I was not prepared for. 3 raptors, too much for him. 1 other combat rogue, apparently he's very prepared for, because I just watched my health go, whoop, and then cheat death kicks in, and I'm like, I'm still, and then I was dead again. And I was just like, well, this plan failed spectacularly. I'm going to go do something else in shame and come back, and hopefully he's gone. Because if I had just won that well, I wouldn't be gone. I'd be waiting.
Well, good to know. So, Assassin Rogues, if you're out there and you see John, just mess with him for a while.
They're really strong. I don't want to be one, because, it's still the dumb... Not the dumbest spec. It's the middle spec.
Right.
Subtlety is the dumb rogue spec.
There's apparently I think it's Smite. Maybe they're mage players, but if you don't have enough crit, you can't run Shadow. It doesn't work while questing. So a lot of people end up playing Holy for their questing, for their world quests while they're gearing up. But I feel so bad for them, because anytime anybody sees a priest walking anywhere, they get so stoked. and like, thank goodness I'm a disc priest with all my buttons, my pain suppression, and my ways to make it last at least. But man, people target you.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah,
My favorite targets are mages, warlocks, and priests.
Yeah, they don't have that heavy armor. That's all that it is.
Well, and I can stun lock them for days. There's not a lot they can do. When they try to cast their magics on me, I just Cloak of Shadows, and I'm like, what now? I've negated everything you were going to do for the seconds you would have had to be alive. And now you die. Chop, 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 chop. And that's the end of that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like being a monk. I have actually, options now, as opposed to when I was a mage. It's like, oh god, I'm stun locked and dead.
Yeah, I don't think I ever told you guys. We used to try to get Baron Rivendare's mount, Ben and I, together, because we needed two to get through Strathholm at the time. We couldn't quite solo it. And so we'd go in, and there's a boss in there where if you have more than one person, she'll charm one of you. And every time we fought her, she charmed me, and I would instantly kill Ben and then finish the fight on my own.
Yeah, because he would get you get a buff if you're the charmed one, and it would start off with killing spree. So just killing spree on me, it's like hut hut dead. Yeah,
It's one of my favorite WoW memories, Ben.
Did you end up getting the charger?
I did. Did
I
you
stopped
ever get
going
the
with
charger, Ben?
no,
Oh.
no, I didn't.
Did you
I
not
stopped
want
going.
it? Oh, okay.
No, it just,
Maybe it's a rogue thing, because we tried that too, but Kyle
I wanted it as well.
never got it. But
No. I still ride my Nether Ray because I love them and
Oh, it's
the
good.
old the Skeksis or whatever they were. I farmed that, man. I worked for that, and I know I'm just riding around on my grandpa mount at this point. And everyone's like, "Look who raided BC! Welcome back." But it's time to fix my dress. My poor Nether Ray's been blind since the day I got him, and I'm not gonna put on pants as a priest. I'm not gonna be the only priest with pants on.
So many interesting ways to take that discussion, but we'll move on.
Well, like, when I made my mage, I was so happy when tier 8 was pants and a shirt as opposed to a robe. I'm like, hey, something different. This is cool. Now I can wear a tabard without it like mixing in with my robes.
I saw a
Well, here's the
mage
thing.
the other day in pants, and they looked super badass, and I was like, what the hell is this class? It's like shooting magic, but it's running around looking like a warrior. And I was like, oh, I'm a mage. You're a maging.
Oh.
bam, 10 out of 10.
All right, what race were they though?
What race were they?
Because I don't think it works on troll. Big old gangly legs, all point in different directions. Half my masks are ruined.
How many directions do your legs point as a troll?
All directions.
They do.
Like-
they really do.
Like seriously, there's two things of loot I got recently that are totally sweet, like
Oh.
metal masks.
Yeah, we tried it on Undead and we tried it on a Blood Elf, and it's really sweet. Chronicles of Riddick kind of a thing where it's the faces.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then we give it to Kyle to try on.
And they cut out the mask part. My big old schnoz is poking through. Like they cut off the face. I have the little eye mask, but like my nose, my jaw, everything is poking through. It's not just I'm fine. Like anytime they're like, here's a mask and my big old tusk, I just imagine I just like right on in there. And that's how it's held up.
I think the mask, or at least a mask like that, where it's got that kind of porcelain mask quality to it, at least. I remember they did that, and I thought it was one of the coolest looking masks in the game. But they did the same thing, except it was just for female characters. They cut out the mouth, and I was like, why? Did somebody look at it and go, it's not kissable enough? we gotta uncover it, because I tried it on like a blood elf, and they may have gone back and changed it, but at least at the time it was this gold mask thing, and it was cut off, and I was like, why is it cut out from my mouth? Why don't I get the full face mask thing?
Right, and it doesn't make any sense, too, because even if you are kissable, who's going to kiss you? Because the guys have their mouths covered, so is
Well,
it...
you think you'd want to squeeze out a beard, maybe? It'd be the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's also all the hats in the world where they're like, well, I guess you're bald now. And
That is the biggest complaint that I have. I hate losing my hair. You've seen my panda. She's awesome. She's got this long hair and chopsticks in it and everything. And put a hat on, it's like, well, I guess it's over.
It's gone.
All gone.
And yet no bald option for a hairstyle. At least not for all the races. But you would think, like, the buzz cut look would be a cool look. Especially in a game with a bunch of, like, badass warrior women and all of that. And then they're like, no, I'm sorry. No bald. The only
That's too
bald we
extreme.
get is, like, dudes that have, like, the Picard going in the back. That's about all we're willing to
look,
service
you
here.
can date every race we put out by what dance they do, but adding hairstyles to the game, That's too time dependent, really.
Yeah.
Well, the one downside of hair though is so on my Blood Elf Mage, she had the most amazing, awesome headpiece. It was like like a wolf headpiece. You put it on and everything. It's like all furry and stuff like that. Except that her long ass eyebrows are sticking out of the eyes of the wolf.
Nice.
It's anime crying blood out of its eyes. It had red hair, so it's like. Brr. I'm like, oh man, I can't. I have to wear this because it's cool, but oh man.
By the way, I remembered what the mage was wearing.
Okay.
It was a level capped Magar orc. So they had the heritage armor. So they were wearing this thick, bulky leather and plate mail looking, tribal looking armor and casting magic. And I was just like, good lord, it's the coolest looking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that was free transmogable.
Yeah, so you're restricted to whatever race it is that unlocks it. But once you've unlocked it, you can use it regardless of whatever class you're playing. So,
Can the new elves be warriors and stuff? Could they be jumping around in like crystal dresses and
Yes.
tanking?
yeah,
Yes, they
absolutely.
can.
The possibilities are intriguing.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Huh.
Although I do have to say the Nightborn headpiece that puts like a metal chin on you is so annoying, and I hate it so much.
Why don't you want a metal chin?
It's like, oh, my chin's not good enough. Okay, there we go.
Fixed it
Yeah,
with metal.
pointy now. It's
No
perfect.
wonder they joined the horde.
They're putting spikes on everything.
Yeah, they give
Like their chin.
They're already there. They're like, I don't know, how do we improve it? Stick sharp metal on it. It's fine. Also, we love portals.
True. Well, anyways, Kyle, Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute treat talking to you.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been a ton of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you
what
for hosting
happens.
us.
Yeah, this is what happens when there's no show notes. Who knows what happens? It's great.
Roll the dice.
Exactly.
Throw the bone. What's it? Roll the bones.
Roll the bones.
Roll the bones.
And get a buff that you don't understand for 60 seconds, and then roll again.
Yeah, I just saw the pictures that Icy Veins told me to look for. That's all I go off of.
I've got 2 down. If it's the little clock, I know my cooldowns will be different. If it's the shark fin, I know I should try to do the between the eyes finisher as often as possible. Those are the 2 I have down. I don't know what the others do. I assume they're okay.
I would hope they all are.
I don't know. I'm a rogue. It's not my job to know what the dice do. It's my job to roll them.
Exactly. Just tell me the rules I need to follow. There we go.
Perfect. So where can people find you until, we see you again?
Well, you can find me on Twitter @_ Kristen Ashton _ Kyle.
Oh,
I'm passing it fast.
I thought it was my underscore. You can find me at Twitter, Kyle Ferguson. Also, check out both of us on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson, where we do Heroes of the Storm shows in the mornings. And, of course, the raid we talked about all throughout this show was the Frog Pants raid, the Friday Frog Pants raid that happens over at twitch.tv/frogpants. And there's a community group for it if you want to join, if you're free midday for that stream. We have a good time.
Wonderful. John, what about you? Where can people find you?
Hey, if you want to hear more from me, follow me on Twitter. I'll let you know where I'll be, @John_Jagger. If you want to hear me talking about Heroes of the Storm, you can catch me on Core, which is the Heroes of the Storm show I do, part of the Frog Pants Network. You can find out more about that at heroesforyou.com. And I also play Dungeons & Dragons. I actually play it with all these people. And Ben has also been on the show that I'm about to talk about. It's tough. We've all technically been on the show, but not all at the same time.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because we have a gnome in our presence that you two never met,
We do.
who is somewhere at the bottom of a desert.
I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway, the game we're alluding to is Dungeons & Dragons. The show There Will Be Dungeons. That is also on the Frog Pants Network. Find out more about that at therewillbedungeons.com. But we record live Saturdays, so make sure you join us. Twitch.tv/frogpants. It's going to be an interesting episode next week. I don't even know. There's going to be revelations, probably. There's going to be a hangover for sure. There's going to be a sporting game of some kind, probably, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Nash is going to come out of the bathroom, finally.
That's important.
Hopefully he cleaned his bandages.
Who knows? Scott
We
probably...
still don't know how he goes number 2. We got a clear description of number 1, but
Yeah.
we're still waiting for
What's up
the
with that?
other.
We know way too much about how number 1 is dealt with.
Well, first I dig a hole.
He must have gotten an email or something. Because he's like, now hold up.
Don't...
I need to describe this.
The people need to know.
Every time Scott calls for a roleplay moment, it's like, this could go literally anywhere. I'm so excited every single time. And then often horrified by the time we get to the end. I was like, I was so invested, and then I knew and I didn't want to know anymore. It's the Pandora's box of role-playing.
Overall, I just hope that you guys get to go to the resort known as the Solar Mines.
It's gonna be full of treasures. Apparently,
Well,
I'm excited.
We have agreed that if we go there, Scott DMs the session.
Yes. I cannot wait for that. I have no idea what to expect from it. It would be the best. Anyway, that's There Will Be Dungeons. That's where we'll be. Ben,
Yes, John.
your turn. Tell them about your stuff.
Okay. Well, if you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Ben the Mage. I do a show about battle pets in the World of Warcraft with Eludra called Battle Pets. And, of course, if you're wanting to see more of me, I've just started streaming The Last of Us. It's my very first playthrough.
Oh, that's right.
And last night I did it for the first time. And there might be instances where I went, oh, and and oh.
My favorite was the long period of time where you were dead silent during the intro. It got to that part. For anybody who's played it, Ben got to that part in the intro, the pre-title credit moment, and it just goes dead quiet for a couple minutes. And I was just like, yep.
I tried not to sob. We'll just leave it at that.
I'm willing to say I've seen that intro multiple times, and just watching, I was like, maybe Ben will say something funny during this and it'll be okay. And you just got quiet, and I just had to watch the scene again, and I was like, gosh dang it, Ben, why couldn't you have made a joke or something? You didn't help me through this at all.
Yeah, so if you're interested, I'll tweet out when I'm doing it, because it's going to be sporadic. I don't, unfortunately, work schedules be what they are. I can't actually have a specific time. So follow twitch.tv/Ben Bumhofer. And if you want to see it, I am putting it up on YouTube. So just do a search for Ben Bumhofer, because I'm not cool enough to have a link yet. Although I will warn you, if you do skip ahead a couple of minutes, because while I was getting mic set up and stuff, never use your iPod headset with microphone thing in your PlayStation controller, because it goes
Oh,
Ooh.
not good. Yeah. And the hard way, I'm like, let's check the sound. Oh God.
this game is horrifying.
Exactly. But it's like this nice little serene thing that just basically says start game. There's not even a title screen or anything. It's just like, oh, look out the window. It's nice. I'm like, no. So anyways, this show, though, Azeroth Roundtable, you can find us on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. If you have any questions, comments, want to send us an email that we will definitely read, send that to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com. And, of course, all of our episodes are found on AzerothRoundtable.com, also on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, a bunch of stuff. Ah, crap, I said Stitcher. I need to get that out of my
Yeah, what are you doing? Every
Yeah,
time
don't
you're
listen
like,
to
I'm
us.
done plugging Stitcher, and then every week, because you're so used to it.
Yeah.
Well, you've had, what is this, 289 episodes of saying it? Why stop now?
Because they suck.
It's true.
But, John, you have one other thing to mention.
Hey everybody, last week's plug for Patreon went a little off the rails, so this week it's going to be extremely professional and good.
Will it?
Yes, get ready. Here it comes.
Okay.
Hi everybody, John here from
Hi,
Azeroth Roundtable, the show you just enjoyed. I'm here to tell you about Patreon. Now, a lot of shows out there will tell you about it, and we're another one. So if you want to help this show by giving us money to be used for goods and services that we don't tell you about, you can go to patreon.com/AzerothRT and do that. We've gotten a lot of people to do this, so if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I'm not sure that sounds like a good deal, just know that you wouldn't be the first person we've tricked into this. You don't have to have that awkward feeling of, oh God, did I get duped into something? Oh, I'm so embarrassed. There's a lot of people that share your pain. It's a community. It's a community of people solving a problem by giving it money. So, patreon.com/AzerothRT is where you want to go to do that. As always, we give a extra big thank you in the form of Ben doing a Murloc impression to our Murloc Club. That is Aaron Somdi, Fresley S., Haster, Jim G., Kryn, Sash, and Simon. Thank you for being part of the Murloc Club. That was for you. I'm sure you feel fulfilled.
I do.
I wasn't
that-
talking to
that
you.
I feel fulfilled too, if you don't mind.
Well, yeah, if one feels fulfilled, everyone does.
Yeah.
It's a community
Yeah,
after all,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the community. You're a part of it, like it or not. Patreon.com/AzerothRT. We thank you. You are all our favorite people, no matter how these ads make you feel.
And with that, again, Kristen and Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure. And chat room, you guys were awesome. And everybody else out there, be good to each other. Well, and also, people in the chat room, and I mean, Kyle and Kristen, you're always good to everybody, so I'm not worried about that. But just overall, do the be good.
You had the intro down so well this time.
I know I had to screw something
And
up.
then the outro, you overthought it.
Yeah.
Have a weekend, everybody.
And make it good.
Or don't. The choice is up to you.
And that's where the podcast ends.
Great. I'm glad I could do that callback to my high school announcements right at the end of the show.
Well, good. I'm so glad that we're able to work that in. I know that you were part of AV and just loved doing it.
I never had to say it. I just had to hear it. Are you kidding? That was more responsibilities.